What's up, guys? It's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to PXA Peeks at RIVE. Oh man, I've actually wanted to show this to you guys for a while, because I actually had preview code for it for quite some time, but I ended up deciding to wait until it was done, and I'm glad I did, because man, this game is pretty awesome. So this comes to us from a small studio in the Netherlands called Two Tribes, who's actually been around for quite a while, but you might be interested to know that this is actually going to be their last game. They declared it well before this game came out. They basically said that the games industry has changed around them in a way they don't feel they can adapt to, and they're getting out. They had to lay off a lot of their staff in 2013, and they tried to reboot the studio, and I guess it didn't work out very well, because they basically said, yep, we're putting this game out, we're going to support it, but this is the last thing we make. Which is kind of a bummer. Two Tribes is actually a very talented team. They put out a lot of cool stuff. A lot of it hasn't jived with me specifically, but there's no doubt they're good at their craft. Like, you can tell the quality of the craftsmanship around their stuff, and this is no exception. So this is a neat game. This is a, well, it's a shmup. Takes place a little bit in space, mostly on the ground. So I'm going to show you this here. So I made a decent chunk of progress into it. I'm going to start at the beginning. You're not going to get the intro unless I reset my save, but basically you're this sort of salvager guy, space salvager dude who comes across a ship in space that he wants to go and try to pilfer, and there's some AI running it who's throwing a bunch of enemies at you, and it's the story's not too important, but it lays a good groundwork for this.
Let's deal with those asteroids in style. Put on some classic game music.
So this first level starts you off in space, but most of the game does not actually play this way. So yeah, you're going to hear that guy talking a lot. That's your main character. You're going to hear him sort of monologuing quite a bit. I'm not the biggest fan of his voice acting, and the writing in this game is... It's not horrible. Some people are probably going to find it funnier than I do, but it relies on memes and references a lot. It's nothing near as bad as anything Anthony Birch has ever written, but I don't know, that type of referential humor in the sort of like, hey, remember this thing and laugh at it has never really been my scene. But some people might like it. The writing is a little meh, but the rest of this is really something special. So this is a game where you shoot and you pick up loot. And you can spend that loot on upgrades. Oh, and also, so here's the guy who talks to you. So you can sit here and listen to him talk, or if he bugs you, you can blow him up, and he comes back, and he goes, as I was saying, and then you can do this, and then he shows up with a shield. I think that's really funny. You don't see him too often, but he shows up, and every time he does, you can blow him up and just be like, shut up, and he'll keep trying to talk to you for a while and then eventually be like, ugh, fine. I know, I find that kind of amusing. So yeah, I'm playing this with an Xbox One controller. They do have a very good keyboard and mouse implementation, because this is basically a twin-stick shooter. But they do have a very good implementation here. I'll switch over here, where you can see it brings a sort of a red dot laser sight into it, and allows you to sort of aim with the mouse reticule, but I prefer playing games like this with a controller, so that's what I'm going to do. So your goal in this is pretty simple. It's to shoot things, loot things, and then use those loot things to upgrade other things, which you can do more looting with. Also does that when you end a level, which I think is just adorable. So, and you'll get these little things here. So there are, I believe it's either 9 or 10 missions in this, which means that this game is probably not especially long, because I played it for about an hour and got to, I think I was at mission 5. But the difficulty level does ramp up in this thing, in a not insignificant way, that's for sure. So you see here, you get scored on various different things, and you have a global rank in the leaderboards, and also you can beat your friend's scores if you want. I have no one to beat on this mission because I rock. Yeah, right. So you can hack stuff like this, and as you go through the game, I'm going to show you guys a later level so you can sort of see the idea, but as you go through the game, you'll be able to hack different kinds of robots as well, like these guys here. These are robots that can heal you, but I don't have the ability to do that yet, but So you can unlock certain robots that will heal you. You can hack other robots that will fight alongside you until they run out of bullets. Things like that. Now you may be noticing with that teleporter there that I enacted that you might be thinking this is like a Metroidvania type thing. It's definitely not. This is a linear game. It just happens to take you back around to different areas in the game after a while. So because I just picked level 1, these are upgrades I already purchased. So you'll come here between missions and you can spend the sort of bolts that you pick up on these different upgrades. And you see down there in the bottom right, it assigns 1 to each of the face buttons. So what you can do is you can select the one that you want. Let's pick this one. So you can assign which one you want to do, and then you fire it with the right trigger. But you only get 1 shot of each special ability. So like that. But you can pick up one of those weapon crates, which drop fairly generously, as you can see here. They're dropping like crazy. So you can they drop fairly generously, and that gives you another shot. But you don't get to stack ammunition, so that's something that you definitely want to be cognizant of. And yeah, a lot of the game revolves in situations like this. It revolves around situations like this, where you're going to get put into a sort of arena challenge situation. So where you're going to get locked in a room and have to deal with enemies of various configurations coming at you. There's also areas where there'll be sort of anti-gravity bubbles that you have to get into. There'll be vehicles at some point that you have to dodge, and they become almost small combat puzzles, if you will. And it's not bad. I do wish it was a little more free roaming than that sometimes. You know, going from challenge to challenge to challenge is not a bad mechanic, but it's not necessarily my most favorite thing. So here, I can go on to the next mission, or I can go back to the main menu, so I'll show you the next one here. So that mechanic's a little basic, but it plays very well. You know, the controls are super snappy. They're super tight. Every time I died, I've never felt it was because the game was being cheap. I felt like it was, you know, out of challenge and out of the fact that I just wasn't good enough. So a lot of shmups traditionally have a life system and a continue system. So basically where you die and you have a certain amount of lives, and when you run out of lives, that's it, it's game over. This does not do that. You will basically restart whatever encounter you were on when you die. So the checkpoints in this are reasonably generous, but some of the individual encounters can get pretty tricky, so you may have to restart one a number of times over. And what it does is it resets your score back to whatever it was when you started that encounter. So you see up top there, your score it's relatively straightforward. You get you get points for taking enemies out, you get bonus points for doing things like double and triple kills, and there's a multiplier that maxes out at 20. That will go up once for each enemy you kill, and you will lose it either when you take a hit or after a period of time without killing anything. So there we go. We turned the gravity back on, and now this is the healer drone, or the nurse drone.
Source code.
I find this kind of cute. His console's just like, teach how to hack, and it just does it. I don't know. I find that kind of amusing too. So you see here, you press the right bumper to turn your hacking beam on, and you can hack things that have different abilities. So the nurse drone will stay alive until until it's healed. It can't heal you anymore. Basically, it can only heal you a certain amount, and then it goes away. You can also, there are turrets you can hack later as well, like I said, and the turrets will fire for you until they are out of ammunition, in which case they explode. But it essentially doubles your firepower, because the turrets will fire when you fire and aim at whatever you tell them to aim at, so which is very handy. So you see, here's another little challenge room. So there's enemies in here. There's also these beams you have to take out. And there are a number of different kinds of enemies that will get introduced later, and there are bosses in this game as well. I've only encountered one boss so far. It wasn't super challenging, but it had an interesting pattern to it, and it was very interesting to look at. And that's another thing with this game. The production value in this game is absolutely gorgeous. I love the art in this. It looks so good. This is a 3D game, but the art looks mostly 2D, and it plays largely in a 2D plane. I think this cartoony art style is absolutely gorgeous. It looks great. I think it sounds pretty good. The music's pretty cool. Like I said, the voice acting and the writing, meh. But I absolutely love the look of this. I think the Two Tribes art style is just fantastic. It runs fantastic on my system. It runs 60 frames a second. Never had any problems with it. The load times in this game basically don't exist. There almost aren't any at all. There's a long load when you first start the game, and by long I mean like 15 seconds. And then after that, you barely see one ever again. You know, Two Tribes uses their own technology, and it's very impressive what they've done with it. I think there are a lot of games that look way worse than this that also run way worse too. So very impressive thing for that. The controller integration is good. It works very, very well with the Xbox One controller, but they didn't leave out mouse and keyboard players either. This game is also available on the PlayStation 4. I don't have code for that, but they have claimed that the games are functionally identical, which means that it should run exactly the same on the PS4 as it does on PC, in which case that's very, very good. A lot of PS4 ports in the last while have had problems with frame rate and things like that. They claim this doesn't, so that's fantastic if that's the case. But you're sort of getting the idea here. You often go from room to room, and you have your various different challenges that you have to complete in order to move on. Some people may not like the fact that it's not super freeform in terms of its pacing, that it does sort of restrict you to encounters like that. I can understand that, but I don't mind it. I think it works. I think it works pretty well. This is definitely not a Metroidvania, though. Like I said, don't have any delusions that it is that. If that's the kind of thing you're looking for, you will not find that here. This is a linear experience, and though it does get very challenging, my guess is that it's not especially long, and it's probably made to be played multiple times to get better score. And in addition to that, there's also a speedrun mode and a 1cc mode, i.e. a hardcore mode. So you die once and that's it. The achievements in this game as well are... there's a number of them that are quite devilish and are going to require some real skill. So they've attached real challenge to a lot of the achievements in this. You know, it's not all just, hey, beat this level, get to the end of the game. Some of them are really gnarly, which is cool. I like that. I like when they put effort into things like that. So, but yeah, I generally am very much enjoying this. Whoops. That's one of the nicer things. This game will taunt you greatly with those death messages. There are, quite a few of them. I probably run into a dozen different ones so far. It's pretty impressive, the effort they put into that, too. And, yeah, the only real criticisms I have for this are that, yeah, I don't know how long it is, but it's giving me the impression that its length may be a little weak. And, I'm not the biggest fan of the voice actor for your main character, and I think the writing is, like I said, I think citing pop culture and internet humor is a little weak, but it could have been a lot worse, for sure, and it really doesn't detract much. But I think this game plays absolutely fantastic. I'm going to back out here and show you guys some other stuff. Also, that is probably the most satisfying menu sound ever as a fan of old school mechanical keyboards. Just, I love it. It's so good. There's also bonus content in here that they say is coming later that you unlock by basically following the game on Steam, by following like their Steam hub page. You'll get extra stuff, but I don't know what that is. Settings menu is also a little bare bones. You can adjust individual sound levels, which is nice. Video resolution just has a percentage meter. So I don't know what the heck that means. I mean, I'm assuming 100% is 1080p, which is what I run at, but I don't really know what that means. That's a little strange. So let's just go back to where I was. So it sort of gives you an idea here. So, yeah, this is starting me in the middle of a combat encounter. So this is an area where there's trains coming on the regular in this tunnel, and I have to use the trains to both jump up, not get hit by them. It also says things like "can't touch this" and "wrecked" and other things. Yeah, wrecked, R-E-K-T, you know, internet style. Things like that. So a little groany. The humor in this is not cringy, it's just groany, is how I would put it. So I'm gonna hack this door open, and then there's a ton of guys who come through here. Oh, hey, I made it. Good. This encounter's been a bit rough for me so far, so I think that'll checkpoint me, which is nice.
Schedule? I don't buy it.
Public transit, am I right, guys? Oh, God. So you see here, overnight delay. Oh, God. See, a lot of these are very context relevant, too, which I find pretty impressive. Like, it actually takes some effort to do that, which is kind of neat, whether you find it that funny or not. So the challenge definitely ramps up, and I've talked to that little drone guy a couple more times now, and there's definitely there is some bigger story that's definitely going to unfold, I'm sure, as we go. I don't really know what it is yet. First impression series, after all, but there probably is going to be some overarching narrative, and maybe it gets bigger later on. But honestly, this is not the main reason I think you're going to come to this game. You're going to come to it for the mechanics. And the mechanics are excellent, as is the presentation. You know, I love a good twin... I mean, I love shmups like this, which this kind of is, not maybe in the traditional sense, but I love shmups, and I actually really enjoy twin-stick games. Dang it! And this does both of them very well. It runs great. I love the look of it. I seriously do think this game looks incredible. And I think it plays very, very well. And I could see this, you know, I said that with only 9 or 10 levels, this might be a little bit short. Maybe not. With how difficult this has gotten, even in this mission, it might actually take you several hours to get through it the first time. And there's definitely replay value in the score attack. Crap. Yeah, thanks for that. But there are a lot of opportunities for replay with the score attack mode and the 1cc mode and some of the bonus content that's coming. And also, obviously, if you like to play for leaderboard position, there is that as well. So it's there is a decent amount of content in here, and it was, you know, made by another small team, and it's very impressive what the small team of Two Tribes learned to accomplish. And honestly, to hear that this is their last game is a real bummer, because these guys are clearly talented. Like, some of the games they're best known for are games called Tokitori, which were sort of puzzle games. They really weren't my scene, but I know they were very well regarded and considered exceptionally well made. And oh, is the train not coming anymore? Well, I guess not. Okay. So you see there, basically no load times there.
Hell of a detour. What was I looking for again? Oh yeah. Oh, where the heck, the bullet train.
So like I said, you see this guy kind of talks a lot.
Oh,
So
gee, I wonder what to do here.
oh, okay. I actually wasn't sure for a minute there. So you sort of have a double jump ability too, which helps you with certain platforming, though I don't seem to be doing too well at it. Where does it want me to go? Oh, it wants me to go up there. Okay, I see. Oh. Music's ramping up. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Stuff's getting rough in here. So, but yeah, I think this is really, really cool. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to finish it, at least once. I'm having a really good time with it. And it's only 15 bucks, and I think that's a pretty good value for what's in here. There's a lot of really... the production value in this is just A1. And I think it's a lot of fun. You know, it won't sell you on twin sticks if that's not your scene. But I'm always happy to get more shooters like this. And yeah, the Tokitori games that Two Tribes did before this, so they're a gun turret. So those guys I can actually hack. So hang on. So you see when you hack something too, even if it's in midair, it kind of slows down and gives you an opportunity to... gives you a time to hack stuff at a distance, which is kind of cool. Oh dear. What?
Shh, the electric whales are sleeping. What are they dreaming of?
Do space whales dream of electric sheep?
Oh boy.
Oh. Well, they're waking up, so this is going to go well. Let's take that nurse drone. Oh, geez. So yeah, you see stuff's ramping up here, so... this was, something like this was in a different configuration was actually a boss in a previous level, so now it looks like it's just become a regular enemy, which is an interesting trope of these things, too. Oh god, and there's a bigger one, though. So... But, yeah, I think this game is a ton of fun. I think at $15, it's a really good value. There's no multiplayer, there's no co-op. You know, having a two-player local co-op mode might have been kind of cool, but they clearly tuned this around the single-player experience, and that's fine. You know, that's probably the way I would end up playing this anyway, so I don't really have much of a problem there. But I think this is really cool, and it bums me out that to hear that Two Tribes isn't making games anymore. You know, Tokitori was very different. It was a puzzle game. I mean, my biggest hope is that maybe this game would sell extremely well so that they could end up going, hey, you know what? Maybe we got something here. Maybe we can actually keep going with this and keep making games. But given that they stated well in advance of releasing this game that, nope, this is it for us, I'm not going to count on that. But that's a shame, because you don't like to see talent leave the industry, especially when we have so much shovelware garbage coming out on Steam and the like right now. And so many other indie developers who make stuff that's frankly not that good, but get all the attention because of who they are more than what they make. Devs who know how to make real quality stuff and are able to sell it at a fair price, we need more of those, not less. And it's a shame that the increasingly crowded, kind of crooked system of indie games right now is pushing these guys out, because we're losing something very special, obviously. I mean, if you look at their past efforts, they know how to make a quality game, and it definitely shines through with this. They did not skimp on the effort, even though they decided that this was going to be it. You know, they could have put far less work into this than they did, and just decided, well, let's just crap this out, get whatever money we can, and that's it. But that's not what they did, and I got to give them full credit to that. So, but well, yeah, thanks for that, game. How far back is this going to take me? Oh, okay, it took me back to after I killed that first wave, so that's not so bad. So, all right, well, that's cool. But yeah, I think this is really cool, and I think if you like twin stick games, this is an absolute no-brainer. It's a ton of fun. It looks great. It plays great, and I think there's a good amount of content in it, and pretty good value to be had out of it here. So, so I activated the warp point here. So it looks like I can move on from here. Can I drop down here? Oh, and now this just became an underwater game, which is completely different to what I'm used to, except I can't shoot down here, so that makes things way more interesting and different. So, as you can see, a lot of variety here, too. Yeah, it bums me out in a way. I think this game is really good, and I'm really glad that Two Tribes gave this to us, but I really bummed that it's their last game, because they are a super big talent. So if you like twin stick stuff at all, I would highly recommend picking this up, and who knows, maybe if we can make this sell well enough, Two Tribes will stick around and make something else. I can only hope. So yeah, that is RIVE, developed and published by Two Tribes on PC and PlayStation 4. It is $15. I highly recommend it. I'm really having a good time, and yeah, man, Two Tribes, don't go away. Stick around and keep making games, because, man, you make good games, and I want more of your stuff. Oh, well. Anyway, my name is Parallax Abstraction. Thank you all very much for watching. If you like what you saw here, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and telling other people. I would appreciate that a great deal. And, yeah, I will see you next time. I got more robots to kill. Take it easy, guys.